Hello, welcome from this goblin of creation. Today I'm going to be doing another Concertina sketchbook page, and this one is for well, I'm not really a dog person, but since this is a hell dog, hell beast, whatever, a hound of hell, in fact, if I recall correctly, I'm drawing a picture of dog in inverted commas because that's what he was named in the book and also in the TV series, obviously. So this is Good Omens' dog. I thought it was quite a nice juxtaposition to have what he looks like and what he's perhaps more likely supposed to be, or what he comes from. This one I'm using, so I've sketched out with mechanical pencil vague outlines, and this is actually going to be coloured with Posca markers, well, Posca pens, so which are acrylic pens. So I've got a mixture of the bullet tip ones, and I've also got some of the brush tip ones. The brush tip ones are quite nice because you can sort of do fine and thick lines, but here I'm sort of playing with layering up colours and seeing. I quite like the fact that they're really flat colours and seeing what we can do with that. As you can see, this is a particularly drooly hell beast, hell hound. So what happened was the hound is summoned for the Antichrist, or summoned. I don't know if it's summoned by the Antichrist or it just emerges when the Antichrist comes of age or what. But anyway, so you have this big beast that appears, and the Antichrist basically makes it whatever its form it should be. And in this case, it's a small terrier, as you can see in the front there with his little chasey ball, because what terrier doesn't like a good chasey ball? I've probably made it slightly too big, but I've sort of, I'm not really a dog person, as I say, so it's kind of it's more of a caricature terrier than a specific terrier. But I think in the book it's a sort of generic terrier. I don't think it's ever specified as to what it actually is. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting some very bright green in with the grey here, because I want to give it sort of almost like it's glowing from inside feel to it. I think that one's a sparkly green, I'm not sure, can't remember, to be honest with you. It's moving too fast for me to read what it says. You can probably like pause it at some point and see, because I did this a while ago, but then I got into the Inktober's, so I didn't really get a chance to do this. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to connect the two by making a sort of shadow. So the big beast could be the shadow of dog, or it could be itself turning into dog, or what have you. But it's just sort of a reflection of what it was. And since in the book the beast is actually described as a large black. I can't remember anyway, but it's supposed to be some large black beast. But as you can see, I'm doing it in such a way that there are lines of the other colours I've done underneath. So even though it's black, it's got these other colours sort of cracking through. It's actually quite geometric. I've got to take a photo of it for the end of the video, which I keep meaning to do and keep forgetting to do. But as I say, I did this a while back, so it's quite interesting watching me doing it again, because for me it's a fresh thing, because I've had like over a month between drawing this and editing the video. I also thought it could give me something to play with, because it's one thing to draw something from real life, but what does a hellbeast look like? You know, I don't know what a hellbeast looks like. Evidently, I don't know what English sounds like. So yeah. Yeah, I always think it's interesting because I've done a green underlay, like green and grey underlay on this one. I suppose because I kind of wanted to give it like a almost zombie-ish look because it's rising from the underworld. But green is one of those colours that's often used to denote evil, as is purple. And yet, or evil, no, not so much evil, but unhealthiness and corruption and what have you, but it's also the sign of growth and, you know, healthiness. You know, you eat your greens and, you know, spring is all about greens and stuff. Some of the colours of things in spring are like quite unpleasant greens as well. So it's not like the deep greens of summer. They're sort of pale slightly. Well, I always feel they're kind of sickly greens, but that's just me, I suppose. Like some sort of razorback beast. I like the Posca pens. My problem is that I have no patience, so quite often I go over colours without allowing them time to dry properly. This one wasn't too bad because, as you can see, it's quite detailed, so by the time I do the bits at the end, the first bits are dried again. Also, the whole idea with this was the forces of hell wanted this to be like some mad vicious dog, but of course turning it into a rabbit chasing terrier type dog makes it more terriery rather than terrory, more like a terrier than something that would inspire terror. So like form follows function. In this case, form dictates function, which I think was quite an interesting idea. But then I think it's something that both Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman have played with before in their books. You know, if you make something a particular shape, I suppose it's kind of like naming something in old traditions. If you have its real name, you can control it. Whereas in this case, if you give it a particular form, it becomes more akin to the form than the name. And also the fact they called it dog. You know, with a name like that, you can't really be anything other than very dog. As I say, I'm more of a cat person. But I see the attractions of having a dog. I just don't really like needy animals. Although I say that, my cat is as needy as fuck. Oh, there was a bit of a pause there, bit of a jump. This was very repetitive, I just want to point that out. But I kept going. I didn't give up. Never give up, never surrender. I suppose I've kind of used the way this is to kind of get bulk in certain areas as well, so it looks, I mean, it doesn't look right, but there's an amorphous hellbeast, or hellhound, turning into a terrier. I think the idea was it was a bit like a Jack Russell, but it wasn't a Jack Russell, you know? Kind of sort of a generic mutt. A small generic mutt. Which is cool. I must admit, Good Omens is one of those books that I can reread over and over and over again. And have done several times. There's a lot of meat in it for, well, you know, it's full of lots of interesting things. You know? I'm surprised. What was kind of sad in Good Omens was they didn't have the other Horsemen of Apocalypse in the book. They had the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and then they had these 4 random bikers who were trying to emulate the other 4 horsemen. And I found that quite interesting. And they were trying to figure out what they'd be the horsemen of. I just found that as like a really interesting little character study. But then there's lots of bits like that in both Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett books, where they go off on these little segues about, I don't know, about humanness. And in Terry Pratchett books they're always vaguely humorous, but they are also quite poignant. Neil Gaiman's more of a Gothmeister. Ah yes, the pale yellow that I have. You have to be careful because sometimes it'll pick up the undercolour, as I say. You don't want your... And you can't really be a hell beast with that little bit of flaming nostril. There I am trying to give Dog a little bit more definition because he's not standing out there. That's a bit better, isn't it? It's very much a caricature of Dog rather than an actual dog. If I had a picture of Dog in front of me I could probably do it, but I was just sort of doing... It's a semiotics thing. It's like you can say dog, but people will not necessarily think of the same thing when you say dog. They will all think of a dog, but their particular dog will be different from everyone else's particular dog. Ah yes, this is where I give it all a background. I just felt it wasn't really... I think this is to go with the way I've done the Hellhound, because it's kind of, again, it's the background is stylized rather than literal. So these are sort of like woofs of smoke and what have you, but they're not really. And it's got that sort of Greeky sort of look to it, you know, where they have the I don't know, it's sort of part Greeky, part Chinese decoration, where they have the square. I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying here, but it's definitely a stylized thing, kind of like Hercules, the Disney movie, where it's got all the those urn motify type things, because this is part of this is kind of from the underworld, Hades, but not that Hades would do this. Hades is a good boy, not the Hercules Hades, not the Disney Hades, I mean actual Hades. I mean, anyone who calls their dog Spot, you gotta laugh, because that's basically what Cerberus means. I mean, I'm slightly translating freely as I go. Yeah, so this is the sort of smoke and steam from the underworld. I just thought it was kind of cool. And also quite like doing geometric motifs on things. When I doodle, I tend to doodle geometrically. Or I doodle really, really, really not, like really organic type. Some highlights there to make things look wet. It's tricky when you're dealing with very, very flat colours to do that, but it's doable. Just gives it a little bit more. There we go. Bit of an even outline for my boy. Yeah, this is a very stylized piece. Give him a little bit of, trying to make him pop a little bit. Although if he did literally pop, they'd probably get ichor or whatever you ever. Ichor. Gooey undid stuff everywhere. No one wants to be covered in gooey undid stuff. Unless you're into that sort of thing. Very hard to get hold of these days. Maybe protoplasm. Ectoplasm, that's what you get covered in. Probably ectoplasm. Made from real ectos and real plasm. Made from plasma. Plasma! Yeah. So still not enough colour. Needs more colour. There we go. Bring some red in because he's from the underworld. And that's what the underworld is, red and stuff. Just to make it pop, 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 pop. And also the red in contrast with the green on the skin of the beast. The skin of the beast. How far have we got to the end? Not too far, not too far. You don't have to put up with my rambling for much longer. But I mean, you can see this, like... Look at him. Yeah, there you go. How about a little bit more highlighting? Obviously, those bits I obviously decided weren't light enough. Bit more drooliness. Yeah, need a bit more definition. After all, they're not particularly big teeth, considering, but they are fairly jagged, so that's nice. Do you like a nice jagged tooth on a monster? Give them a bit more depth. That looks quite cool, doesn't it? Am I done? Am I done? Oh no. Coming in with a bright red. Wow, that really is a bright red. To be fair, I feel that. That is definitely a relatable look. A relatable expression. It's that sort of, oh my god, I can't believe it's that time already. I need my coffee. Yeah. Get a bit more definition of my areas. I haven't just. It's quite cool. A little bit of definition there. Just so he's not disappearing into the background, because the background is a stylized piece rather than something he's actually attached to. I don't think I've made enough of the ball there. The ball I should have outlined if I haven't by the end of this. Oh, here we go. Bit more decoration. Adding layers. I say. And now doing it off camera because that's what I do evidently. Evidently I do way too much. The problem is I get into it. And once I get into it, I stop monitoring what I'm doing. Once I stop monitoring what I'm doing, it all goes Pete Tong. Ah, there we go. I'm back in again. I must have noticed. Like, oh, I should not be doing that. Yeah, so this is the wine red in the Posca. which is actually a really nice sort of deep. It's almost a maroon, but not quite. There you go, come in with a bit there, so it doesn't look too out of place. A couple of little bits there, bit definition. Definition. Pretty, spirally pretty, squarey things. It's looking a bit wussy. Give it some oomph. Give it some girth. Who doesn't like a bit of girth? Thick. What the hell was that? This is like a fly right up close to the thing. Anyway, that looks like it's done. Oh, no. Is it done now? Is it done now? Nope. Is it done now? Nope. Why am I like this? And it must be done soon, surely. Getting a bit more definition. I'm such a fusspot. Yeah, bit of depth there. Decided to give it 3-dimensionality. Bit more. I don't know what I'm doing there. Dotting something in by the look of it. Bit of white just to bring him out. Doop. And he's still got a red eye because he's still a hellhound. Come on. There's the final finishing touches. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Well, we won't. You'll see us. Bye.